Now, I don't know if this is because of the recent backlash that Ubisoft has gotten as of late, and for those of you that have no idea what I'm talking about, I'll leave 2 videos linked in the description below. They are by The Quartering, so you guys can check them out. There were some leaked videos regarding some force diversity and things of that nature. I don't want to get too much into detail about that. I really want to talk more about the article that I will go ahead and share with you here in just a little bit, but I want to start off by saying that I believe that mediums serve many purposes, obviously, to entertain us, to inform us, and just to be there for people to express themselves. Now, of course, video games, comic books, movies, these are all things that people can, if they want to, they can use them as a vehicle to express whatever they want to express. Now, me, typically, I am not a person that cares for things that are overly politicized in these particular mediums, but on the flip side of that, I do believe that people have a right to use these mediums for that, and they're always going to be used for that. Now, one of the things that has come up a lot lately has been with comic books, with people thinking that, they don't want politics and comic books and things like that. That's why the whole Comicsgate movement is happening right now, and things of that nature. Now, while I agree, those are not things that I want in my comic books either. I'm more worried about if the story is good or not, if the characters are good. Doesn't matter what their race is, sexual orientation is, or any of that. I don't care about any of that stuff. As long as I'm reading a good story, that's going to keep me happy, and that's what's going to keep me coming back for more. And a lot of people are that same way. They will continue to come back as long as they're enjoying something. But on the flip side of that, we have to look at something that is very true about comics, and that is the fact that, of course, comic books, kind of from their inception, were used as kind of political propaganda, especially during World War II. Not completely, but, to a degree. So we got to recognize those things, and we have to recognize the fact that sometimes things like that, mediums like that, like comic books, like movies, like video games, will be used to push these kind of agendas sometimes. And you know what? To each their own. Everybody has their right to do that. If that's the kind of video game you want to make, if that's the kind of comic book you want to write, or the kind of story you want to write for a book or for a movie script, that is completely your right. And I think everybody should be allowed to do that if they want to do that. But again, that comes with consequences, of course. For people that don't want to consume those kind of things, they will vote with their dollars, and they will avoid those things if they want to. Now, this is kind of a roundabout way of me getting to the Division 2 and what the developer of Division 2 is saying. Now, I don't know if this has to do, again, with the Ubisoft controversy, but I would suspect it does, because of all the negative backlash they got from those videos, and, the over-politicization of what's happening in games and things like that. The developer of Division 2 is saying that, going to try to stay away from that. But let's go ahead and get into this article, and then we'll get a little bit more into those details. So let me go ahead and read this here, and I'll leave a link in the description below so you guys can check that out and read it for yourselves. I'm not going to read the whole article, but I will try to get through as much of it as possible and then give some of my thoughts. So, the developer behind Tom Clancy's The Division 2, an action thriller in which you play a highly equipped military sleeper agent brought in to quell a civil war on the crumbling streets of Washington, D.C., has said that it cannot be openly political in its video games because it is bad for business. Speaking at the Sweden Game Conference, Ubisoft Massive's COO Alf Condelius said, "In The Division, it's a dystopian future, and there's a lot of interpretations that it's something that we see the current society moving towards, but it's not. It's a fantasy. The Division 2 is a multiplayer-focused game that has players dropping into the overrun capital of America, where monuments like the Capitol building lie in ruins, fighting off marauders with gear found on the battlefield. It's a universe and a world that we created for people to explore how to be a good person in a slowly decaying world," said Condelius, as reported by GameIndustries.biz. "But people like to put politics into that, and we back away from those interpretations as much as we can because we don't want to take a stance in current politics." In the first Division game, players also took on the role as a special agent in the Strategic Homeland Division, brought in only in matters of serious civil unrest. In the first game, you battled criminals in New York after the breakout of a smallpox epidemic spread by the contact with infected dollar bills released by a terrorist organization on Black Friday. "It's also bad for business, unfortunately, if you want the honest truth," said Condelius about avoiding politics in a game in which your base of operations is reportedly the White House. "But it is interesting, and it's an ongoing discussion we have with our users. People want to put an interpretation into the universe that we create. This isn't the first time that Ubisoft has addressed the political overtones of its games, or lack thereof. Released earlier this year, Far Cry 5 had an evangelical cult taking over a portion of small-town America, but director Dan Hayes said that the game did not have a political commentary. Okay, so I haven't played the first Division game, and I have not played Far Cry 5, so I don't really have an opinion on them. Now, the Division, the first one, does look somewhat interesting to me, but I've heard mixed things about it, and the way it kind of works, the bugginess of it, so I'm not sure if it's something that I really wanted to invest in, so I kind of stayed away from it because I was initially interested in trying to get that game. But from seeing the trailers for it and reading up on it, it did seem like there could be a little bit of a political message in it, but it didn't seem like it was forced. And it looks like, in this particular case, Condelius is really trying to stay away from any kind of political overtones in the game, but of course I'm pretty sure there's still people that are going to draw some of those overtones from these games, or they're going to interpret some of the themes in these games as such. I think that there's nothing wrong with having politics within a story as long as it's done in a compelling manner and it's not done in a way that is really preaching to the person that is playing the game that they should believe a certain way politically. Now, if politics is just part of the story, a natural part of the story, that's one thing, especially if it's done in a very subtle manner or in a way that is very compelling. I think that that's something that people can appreciate, even if they don't necessarily agree with the politics within that story, as long as they are not being imposed on the player and the player feels that he's not being preached to or being force-fed a message by the makers of the game. I think that they can enjoy it for what it is, and even if they don't necessarily agree with what those politics might be. Now, I'm hoping that in the case of the Division 2 that they are not forcefully putting politics into this, and if they do, if they want to make them as part of a small part of the story, but the overall story is about the people and how they are trying to survive in this world, which is what it seems like. That seems to be what Condelius is really saying in this is, look, this is a dystopian future because of things that happened, decisions that were made. This is basically a man-made situation, and it is just a world pretty much with no hope at this point, but you're trying to do the best you can in this world that doesn't seemingly have hope, and you're trying to be better in this very dark world. I think that that is, of course, a very interesting thing, and as long as the characters are well written and strong and play very well off of each other and don't necessarily force a particular message, I think it'll be all right. But of course, there's still going to be those people that kind of overanalyze things and will look into certain things. They'll try to find something to be wrong with it or something that might be too preachy. And who knows, maybe there are those things that are still going to be incorporated into this game. We won't know for sure until the game actually comes out. But let me know what you guys think about it. What do you guys think of Condelius' word? Because I do happen to agree. I think, of course, this is an overused line at this point, and I'm sure many of you have heard it at this point, the whole get woke, go broke thing. I think that they're realizing that as long as they keep forcing these kind of agendas or putting these kind of narratives within the games, I think that they're going to really turn people off instead of just being concerned with making a good game with a good story that is appealing to people. I think they're finally starting to realize that, look, that's not really doing us any favors, so maybe we should stop doing that. I think this is what he's trying to say with this, and I really do hope that this is a concerted effort on the part of Ubisoft, especially Mr. Condelius here, to really stay away from things like that and just make a good game. Make a good game that will appeal to the masses because, of course, at the end of the day, I truly believe that that's what matters to people. They just want something good, something enjoyable. They just want to escape from reality, to escape from what they're seeing here in the real world and not be continuously reminded of it in the things that they enjoy, whether it be comic books, games, or movies. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Of course, that's just my take on things. So until next time, thank you so very much for watching this video. Be sure to like it, thumbs up, all that good stuff, subscribe, and check out some of my other videos. All right, take care, y'all.